Is this thing on? Dun, dun, na, 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 dun, na, 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 dun, na, 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 dun, na, 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 dun, na, na, na. Movies TV Mad Doomsday is now in production. Are you hyped? Why not? I love chairs. Don't you? Don't chairs excite you? Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. On TikTok, Mad Mickey's World. On Snapchat, BMouth60 Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Friday's edition of the DCU Daily. It's Friday already. Where are the days going? I'm 52 today, I'll be 62 before I know it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my worries, about my life passing me by. We're here to ask the question, is there any hope for the MCU and the DCU? Because the DCU is a brand new franchise. Because they thought, the DCEU didn't work. I know, let's cut the E out and let's call it the DCU. Let's not kind of reboot. Let's semi-reboot and start again. What could possibly go wrong? And we know that the MCU Phase 4 has been an absolute catastrophe for Disney, Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige. So they're in trouble. So if in doubt, throw some cameo bait, throw some nostalgia, and everything will be okay. It didn't work out for the Flash movie though, did it? It actually had terrible consequences for WB as they lost money. What you've got to understand about Hollywood, new or old, they work off of trends. If one thing works, they'll try it again. The truth is that Deadpool 2, although it made okay money, didn't get very good reviews, and it wasn't as good as the first movie. Now, if you ask me, we only ever needed one Deadpool movie, but this is Hollywood. Hollywood will stretch the elastic band until it breaks. They do it with a popular TV series. We had 10 seasons of Smallville when we should have had 5. I appreciate those 10 seasons, warts and all, but, they stretch the elastic band, right? Should the MCU still exist? Should they have been happy with what they did with the first 3 phases and call it a day, then just get, bring in visionary writer-directors, to do these solo stories. Like we've seen with WB and DC throughout the years, with Joker, The Dark Knight, etc., etc., etc. Nolan did a trilogy, and that was it. But this is Disney, this is Marvel Studios. I warned about continuing this connective franchise tissue thing when they announced the DCU under the supervision of James Gunn and Peter Safran. I said this was a mistake, and we'll see on July the 11th if it launches, if it heralds a new exciting era for this franchise or not. But the MCU found success with a connective universe. That's why every effort has been trying it. They tried to do a universal monster universe, didn't work. They tried this, they've tried that, right? But I believe now it's broken. This kind of concept of a connective universe, a connective franchise is broken. And audiences around the world are bored. They don't want to watch every single movie. They don't want to do homework. They don't want to watch every streaming TV show. They want to come in and watch a television series that's not connected to other movies or TV series. They want to watch a movie that's not connected to anything else. The beauty of the James Bond franchise is that originally, before Daniel Craig came in, it didn't really continue that much. You could watch Live and Let Die, and if you didn't like Moonraker, you didn't have to watch Moonraker. I suspect the new Bond franchise will be connected a lot more. And it's difficult for audiences. Now, when people were enjoying the MCU, it was cool. We'll watch the next movie. We'll stay in the cinema during the credits. I mean, even as a kid, I always watched credits anyway. I loved reading what actor was called what, and who was the production designer, who did the costumes, because I was interested in how things get made. And now I'm a writer, director, actor on an amateur level before people say, oh, yeah, right. No, Amateur Dramatic Society in my theatre, very amateur, but I do write and I do direct and I do perform with my Amateur Dramatic Society, which makes me an amateur writer, director, actor, right? Okay? Doesn't mean I think I'm special. But anyway, right? So we're in a position now where there's a lot of pressure for the MCU and the DCU. We have heard that it's all or nothing with Superman. I think it's ridiculous that the future of a studio, a once great studio, is riding on one superhero movie. It shouldn't, so much shouldn't be riding on this movie, but it is. Now, I was talking about Deadpool 2 not working, and I kind of lost myself and started talking about something else. The reason I started talking about Deadpool 2 is because when they were talking about a Deadpool 3, tentatively, I thought it's not going to work. It may even be a flop because I don't think people want to see another Deadpool movie. And what did they do? They brought back Hugh Jackman. All of a sudden, all the idiots were excited. It's Hugh Jackman, nostalgia bait. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna orgasm. So it was like that. And so people fell for it. It made around $1 billion. Everything was fine. We all loved Ryan Reynolds, and then we heard about all this other stuff with the male feminist, and I don't know what to think of Ryan Reynolds anymore. Difficult situation. But anyway, they managed to take a rabbit out of the hat. So now Feig's looked at it and he's gone, well, Hugh Jackman, nostalgia bait, $1 billion. How can we save the MCU? I know, we'll do the same with these Avengers movies. We've just sacked an actor, right? We're changing our Avenger movies plans, right? I know, we'll bring back Robert Downey Jr. And don't listen to this nonsense that this whole thing was Robert Downey Jr.'s idea. Robert Downey Jr. is very happy to be back because he's getting big green, big bang. Because let's not get it twisted. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the best let me say that again. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the best actors of his generation. If you don't believe me, prior to the MCU, go and watch him as a very young actor in Air America, but fundamentally as Charlie Chaplin in a movie directed by Sir Richard Attenborough. And his performance was amazing, but he was too young to handle his fame. He got involved with drugs. He ended up in prison. And really, in my opinion, his career never got back to what it was as a young actor. But he played Tony Stark. Yeah, he's played Tony Stark in a bunch of MCU movies, right? McDonald's lunches, Quarter Pounders, Big Macs, milkshakes. But he's never really been... I know he was in the Nolan movie, right? Oppenheimer. I know that, and that was a great performance, but basically, consistently, he never got that level back, right? But he's come back to make money. Because if he was interested in being an actor again, he would be going around, he was in Oppenheimer, did he win an Oscar, right? If I remember rightly. This is a great opportunity for him to keep on playing roles of these types. And he's come back to play Doctor Doom. But he's probably actually Elseworlds Tony Stark, who actually happens to be Doctor Doom in this universe. Who knows? So you just saw me ripping the piss out of the chair kind of marketing that they did the other day. So they had this 5-hour or something live feed, and they kept on, having chairs with names on them. Now, a lot of people are complaining because they're bringing back a lot of the Phase 4 underwhelming characters. Now, in a way, they're stuck doing that. They can't just get rid of them, right? But I think that, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 11 Rings or 7 Rings or whatever it wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't a terrible movie. I didn't like that scene in the restaurant cafe bar when the guys are being racist to him. Because let me ask you a question. How do you think we cure racism and bigotry? Showing more racism and bigotry, or seeing people from different cultures together? When I was a kid and I was watching EastEnders, we saw, and it was a big deal back then to see a black woman dating a white man. You know, when we saw it on EastEnders, Coronation Street, it was a big deal. People actually complained about it. That's how ridiculous. How ridiculous is that, right? So there was a lot of ground broken when I was, we tried. The TV industry tried to show people with different cultures being together. Now it's kind of a little bit more divisive. Showing more racism on the screen doesn't heal racism, but that's the extreme left for you. Anyway, so I didn't mind the Shang-Chi movie. It didn't really make much money. I think that movie, if you've read the comics, he's a pretty awesome character. Those comics are amazing, but they didn't go deep enough with the martial arts because Marvel couldn't direct a proper martial arts movie if their life depended on it. So now we ask the question, is there any saving the DCU and the MCU? We're asking about saving the DCU before it started. We've had Creature Commandos, which I'm hearing is pretty solid, typical James Gunn stuff. Wasn't a bad thing. I haven't heard one negative report on it, right? From people who are objective. I'm only interested in hearing from people who are objective. So when people came to me telling me that they saw a Superman test screening and they wanted to know if I wanted to know what happened within that test screening, I had to make one of the things that I didn't tell you the other day is I made sure they were objective. They weren't just people who wanted to, pour kind of compliments on the movie, or people who just wanted to be haters. Because I need objectivity for this channel. I can't have an echo chamber. It's just simply wrong. I want to embrace fans from all sides. But anyway, I actually think a lot of people are like using the chair kind of thing, the chair marketing as a good thing. Oh, look, they're bringing all these things back. And, DC won't bring back the Snyderverse. I'd love to see the Snyderverse back. I actually believe the Snyderverse will be restored to a certain point. I believe that Zack Snyder has still got one DC movie in him. So he may not get to continue his DCEU arc, but I think he's got one more movie within him. That could be a conclusion of Justice League, right? Just a sec. Because, there wasn't ever going to be 3 Justice League movies. There was going to be 2 Justice League movies. Zack wanted to make 3 Justice League movies. But I think Zack has got one more movie within him. So obviously the Snyder fans want Superman to fail because they think, that will restore the Snyderverse. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do believe Zack Snyder will make, before he retires as a director, will make one more DC movie. So watch this space. How do I know that? I know things. And as you know, my record on here is second to none. Nobody watches my channel hardly, but I do appreciate you who come in, throw some likes at me. You are appreciated. And I don't need to go viral at the end of the day. I personally think, despite people, heaping praise on the chair hype and all of that, I actually think there's more chance of the DCU being successful than the MCU being successful with Avengers Doomsday. Now, Avengers Doomsday won't be successful if Fantastic Four fails. Flails? If Fantastic Four fails. I genuinely believe that. I think Fantastic Four is the new kind of reset. But it looks like Avengers, is it Avengers Doom? Or Avengers Doomsday, or whatever it is, right? And the other one that they're doing is a kind of rewrite of the MCU. It's a bit like Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think all the Earths are going to get destroyed and there's going to only be one brand new Earth and they're going to reset everything. And who's going to be involved with that? I don't know. That's the plan. Phase 4 and the little bit of Phase 5 that they did is hugely damaging because they broke the trust with the fans. And it's going to be very, very difficult. I think one of the reasons Deadpool and Wolverine succeeded, because people felt, well, it's the MCU, but it's not really the MCU. This is Ryan Reynolds. They trusted Ryan Reynolds to make a great Deadpool movie. They liked the banter between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and people came in. So as I say, that's why Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. And it is cheap, and it is lazy. But I will give them credit. That reveal at San Diego Comic-Con, when Robert Downey Jr. removes his Doom mask, was a very, very good idea. And I was shocked, just like everybody else. But now they have to make a great movie. And it's very, very interesting. People keep on asking what happens if Superman flops. But you haven't asked yourselves the other fundamental question: what if Superman succeeds?